welcome. This is actually my second talk in the Bangkok, so hopefully much better than yesterday Flashbots. And I will tell you today about the stuff we are doing with the satellites, with the SpaceCoin. So this is like brief the agenda. So mostly where it's actually based is like that a lot of orbital data centers are coming to the orbit because the costs are plummeting. And then actually what our research we are actually based on thanks to this like available hardware on the orbit. So why it's actually interesting now is because like reduce the cooling costs on the orbit. So then you have like the almost infinite access to the solar power, and it's way cheaper to actually run things on the orbit than on the Earth. Then actually you don't need to any water cooling as well. And when there will be like more data centers around the orbit, potentially you can like lower the latencies to the end users. And why is actually important now? Because like the last 2 years, we launched as the humanity much more satellites than last 6 decades. So what actually SpaceCoin these are to be? We're actually thinking about it like it could be like the marketplace and the payment layer. It could serve like the purpose for the terrestrial blockchains, but also like for the satellites itself. So actually we can provide the transaction between the satellite service providers in the orbit without doing the round trip going down. So this is briefly like how we look on the stuff like from the architecture. So we would like to provide the security services for the Earth user, of course, and for the RPC nodes, we'll be like the connecting to our stuff as well. So this is briefly like the CubeSat you can see on the picture. We launched like the crypto tree with the Iridium connection last year, thanks to the CryptoSat, now its name's the Aptus Orbital. And end of the year, they'll be launching like the much better node, which will leverage the Iridium next, which will provide us like much better bandwidth. And we can then conclude some experiments with them. So what actually we're promising from that is actually to be like something like the T-like functionality, because everything is based on the previous research from 2017 called the SpaceTEEs. And if everything goes well, we would like to launch like the fleet of the Iridium, enable the crypto engines to the skies. And why is actually super important? Because it's like the tamper-proof, and once you actually launch the things in the orbit, it's like tamper-proof, and nobody can like touch it until you have like some super weapons on the government level. So this is briefly like easier architecture we are talking about. So the Iridium network have like the 66 active satellites with the 9 in the spare as the backups, and that actually the network currently we are using. We are of course using it now, but there is like other providers in the future. We are directly working with the Aptus Orbital X CryptoSat, which actually have like providing us the computation capacity. And then actually we'll be like the basing on top of all of these 2 layers, the SpaceCoin, which actually can enable access to the space compute. So in the brief of our research we published recently is like we're talking about the 2-tier architecture. So the layer 1 is like the celestial in the orbit for the security, and the layer 2 is like the uncelestial on the Earth for the scalability. So this is actually kind of the novel approach we call like with all the benefits of the robes and the state channels. So this is actually how we think about like our current consensus. So we try to use the modify the hot stuff protocol for the streamline the consensus. And for all the linear communication complexity we actually have baked in the protocol, and have like this elastic leader selection based on the satellite reachability, because even with thanks to the Iridium we are technically always online. There is some windows where actually you cannot reach the satellites in the right moment or so, but in the future it will be instant. So this is briefly like how we see it. So when we are looking on the satellites, that sometimes actually you don't have like reachability the other satellites right away. So that's why actually we try to leverage the hot stuff with the instant finality, and lower the bandwidth and the messages currently with the current provider. And we just require the connectivity with the only one node designed as the leader, which actually then proceeds with the rest of the finality. So this is briefly like how we see it in the voting stuff. So you can see like where is coming the request from the ground station to the proposers for the satellites, and then actually the other satellites which are reachable, the voting. And then you see on the diagram that actually the second one, actually the proposing the request between each others, and then actually the vote is coming back to the ground stations. So this is briefly how we see it. And this is more deep down how we see like our unique the 3-grade security system with the uncelestial layer 2. So we can have like the fast pre-finality, where actually the fastest path is like the direct interaction between the users and the uncelestial, the L2s. Then once the transaction is confirmed, when the sufficient validators sign the attestations, And this is actually good for the suitable for low-value transactions, require the quick confirmation, where actually we doesn't involve the satellites yet. And then we have like the one with the pre-finality with the backup, where actually is like all the considerations that where the medium security path is the fraud-proof windows, and the transaction is confirmed on the Celestial L2 with the validator attestations, and then state update is actually posted on the Celestial L1 as the backup, and actually allows time window for the fraud challenges and the balance the speed between the security medium valid transaction. And this, the very last one, is actually where actually the highest security path. So this is good for the high value transactions, where actually all the things actually submitted on the Celestial layer 1, 2 on the satellites. And then actually state is update fully committed on the L1s and requires the full consensus and validation. So actually it takes some time to confirm, of course, and is like the most secure things actually we would like to provide. And of course, they have like the longest confirmation. So what we can actually provide with these services, so as we have like this, the SpaceTEEs, where actually we can work as the T coprocessor, we can actually technically enable the FAG potential as well, and all the application inheriting from there. So we can provide like the secure custodian for the assets, which have like the implication for the extra terrestrial jurisdictions. And then actually we can provide the cosmic entropy because we get like exposure for the radiation over the atmosphere, which actually you cannot capture the cosmic rays down here on the Earth. And then we can come up with something like the secure deletion with physical guarantees, because once we deleted things, we can guarantee like nobody will touch the satellites most likely, or they will like the burning atmosphere after life cycle. And then of course the eternal bulletin board, the capabilities. So you can post the things because like the satellites will be more and more on the satellites, so actually will exist for a long time. And the rest of the smart contract capabilities we are thinking about is that we would like to support, of course, any kind of the EVM. So the closest one is like EVM and then probably SVM. So it's still in the part of the research. And then actually we'll be like looking for the initial deployment for the bridge contracts and potentially future extended visibility with the WASM and the risk, the VMs and the stuff in the future. So this is briefly like the Space Coin. Feel free to follow us. If you have any questions, you can DM me as well. There is the other co-founder, Daniel, here is with the yellow, is the green shirt today. But we are looking for the L1, L2 foundations, the wallets, the validators, and the entropy providers, so you can feel free to reach out to us. Okay, if you have any questions, yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, here.
Okay, I have one question for you. The idea of project is very cool, I would say, but then what if like some nodes got problem? How you reboot it?
Again, can you repeat the question?
Like if some nodes on some satellite got problem, how you reboot it?
Usually the satellites have some life cycle, and as the price per launch can in the 5-10 years go like $10 per kilogram, there will be like launching more nodes eventually, like each day, like 3 of them or something like that. So you will be like the launching new hardware up there.
But then, like sometimes it's happened from the software side, like you update the firmware.
Of course. We actually like before updates that you have like the twins satellites we actually provide on the ground before the updates are being pushed on the orbit.
Okay.
So yeah, of course, like the tested before we push it. So it's like not like just random, yeah.
Okay, so maybe like you have to take the testings really serious.
Oh yeah. There's like the satellites. It come like for the radiation shielding. So actually, you are trying avoiding to a lot of anomalies. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more question.
Hi. I just want to ask, what kind of hardware do you actually use on the satellite? So, like, what kind of compute capability do you have?
Okay. The currently is like the first one was the PLC. Now on the ESS station, then it was the Cortex A53, and the currently is like Cortex A73, and then the current one can't disclose, but it will be like something ARM-based. So it will be like the V8 64 bits, and with the more than 8 GB RAM, and AIM is like more than 4 terabytes as well. But that's like just one provider. There will probably future there will be more of them. So.
Have you considered FPGAs?
Sorry? Oh, yeah. There's actually something we know the partner is actually launching the FPGAs there.
Okay, thanks.
Great. Thank you, Matej.
Thank you very much.
All right.